some difference, either technical, but there will be some difference. That is what makes it unique. Or new services created. So that, for example, can be the metros. All the metros will built in various cities in India. So it is by doing it as a project, new services created. Or result. Result, definition of the result is, you must all be familiar with the IRCTC website. Right? So before the website was there, you had to go to the station, fill a form, wait in the line, all that was there. But by building the website, it was done as a project. The result is you are able to directly buy the tickets of anywhere using this smartphone. That is the example of the project. So again, every individual undertaken to create a unique product or service or to generate some sort of result is a project. Now what is project management? Project management is the process of initiating a project, planning a project, executing a project, controlling, monitoring, controlling, and finally closing the project so that the customer's objectives are met. All these practices combined are called project management. Okay? So now we look at on Primavera how to create the project. So to create the project, again see, projects are created for the entire organization. So you find under enterprise. So click on enterprise and then click on projects. So as soon as you click this, you will see all the EPS nodes you have built earlier. All the EPS nodes you have created. You should also see the OBS element. All the OBS. So you have linked the EPS with the OBS. You will see all of them. You see the EPS like this and the OBS. If you do not see the OBS, just right click, go to columns and select responsibility. You will see the OBS. So now what you are seeing here, this is the project database. All the projects you create on Primavera, either which are completed, which are in progress, or you are going to do it in future. All of them will be displayed here. So this is the project database. So in here, to create a project, first thing you need to know is, you need to know which EPS the project should be saved under. So this is the reason we create EPS first. We need a place for the project to be saved. So for example, under this one, we are going to create a project. So select the EPS node and click on Add. Immediately a new project wizard will come up. This will guide you in creating the project. Visible to everyone, right? The screen. So this wizard will guide you in creating the project. First thing it will ask you is select the EPS. Which EPS you want to select the create the project under. By default, whichever you select, that will show. If you want to change to a different EPS, click over here. Again, all the list of EPS will come. You can select a different EPS if you want. So after selecting EPS, click on next. Now similar to EPS ID, you have to come up with a project ID. So again, every organization will have their own rules of how the ID should be created. Accordingly, create the ID. Okay. So usually what I do is I just put the date as the ID. And project name is the exact name. Now sometimes you may not be aware of the project name. Reasons are, when you are creating the project on Primavera, it is much in advance. You will not know exactly when the project is going to start. You may not know exactly the schedule because you are creating something. Now once you create something, it has to be reviewed, it has to be verified, it has to be approved. So it will take a bit of a time. Overnight, you will not create a complete plan for a project. So at that point of time, you may not know the exact project name. So you can put anything and you can change it later on. Everything you can change later on, so don't worry. So that is the project ID and the project name, which can be changed later on. Then click on next. Like I said, we are still in the planning stage. We may not exactly when you are going to start. So there is a project plan start, which is by default the system date. If you want to change the start date, click over here. The calendar will come up. You can navigate to the next month or the previous month. If you want to navigate to the next year, click on the month. You can go to the next year. So to the best of your knowledge, whatever you know, put the plan start date. Now sometimes you may be given a deadline that you have to complete the project within 5 months, 6 months, 1 year. If there is a deadline, only then put the must finish by date. If there is no deadline as such, leave it blank, no problem. Only if there is a deadline, you put the must finish blank. Others leave it blank. Then click on next. Now, to the project, we are going to assign the OBS. We have assigned the UPS, and now we are assigning the OBS. So again, when you click here, what will come up here? When you click here, OBS, very good. OBS is going to come. So this is the reason, first OBS, UPS, then project. Because for project we need both UPS and OBS. So from here, let's assign someone to manage the project. Now this also, you can later on change it. If the project manager changes later on, or whoever is responsible changes later on, you can always change it, no problem. Then click on next. Then there is something called default rate type. Now this is applicable only to IT projects, not civil and mechanical. What is the default rate type is, for all activities in the project, you can choose a fixed price. Now, if you look at an IT project, is there any cost of machinery? Cost of material? Only cost is people. And that is also fixed. It will not change. The number of people working on IT project will not keep on varying. It will be a fixed team. So every day the entire team works, that is the cost. So whatever they do, they may be coding, they may be designing, they may be planning, they may be documenting, they may be testing. The cost will be the same. So in IT project, you can choose a default rate. Out of 5, you can choose default rate, but not in civil and mechanical. In civil mechanical projects, initially the cost is less when you are in the planning, designing. Then when execution, it goes up, and as work completes, it comes down. So it is like sort of like a bell curve. So we cannot have a default price. So leave this as it is, then click on next and finish. So now our project is created with basic information. Point ID, project name, EPS, OBS, plan start. Nothing more than that, right? We don't even know what we're going to do in the project. So this is an example of level 0 project. Executive summary. Only summary, nothing else. This is the level 0, basic level of planning. After that, we will do a schedule. We'll expand this project. We'll expand by creating activity, but we will not add resource. We will not add any manpower, machinery, material. So we are only going to create a schedule without resource. That is called level 1. With each level, we are adding more detail to the project. Now the same level 1 project, if we also execute, we also monitor, it becomes level 2 project. So only creating the schedule is one part, also execution is one part. Level 1 project, which is scheduled without a resource. If we schedule with resource, now to activity we add manpower, machinery, material, then it becomes level 3 project. If the same project we also execute, it becomes a level 4 project. And while creating activity, we will give the duration of the activity, we will give the relationship of the activity, we will add resources to the activity. Apart from all this, if you also create the steps to do, so when we add so much data, so much information, then it becomes a level 5 project. So this is sort of an interview question where they ask you, in your last project, to what level have you worked? So if you have done what you have done today, it is a level 0, and you will not get a job. Right? So level 1 is scheduling without resource. Now example of a level 1 project would be most civil projects, where someone who creates a plan, do you think he will know the people going to do the construction work? He will not know who are the daily labor, who is going to come, all the people who are going to work on the site. The planning person may not know. He will only create the plan. So there they will create a schedule without resource, where they say this activity or this floor should complete in X number of days. The work once is assigned to someone, they have to figure out to complete in so much time, how many people do I need, how much material and what I need, what material I need. They have to calculate and they have to do that. That is something called quiz. So the example of a level 1 is something like that. And if you are also part of execution, level 2. Now a level 3 project is usually mechanical, which are in-house projects, where there is already a team with specialized skills. You know exactly who you require. what they're supposed to do in-house, small size. There you create a level 3 project, and it can also go to level 4. Now, whenever you put together a team for a project, you expect them to know what to do, how to do. You don't have to do so much spoon feeding as writing again, how for each activity, writing the steps how to do, not required. So mostly you may not see a level 5. So we will do tomorrow level 1, where we create a complete schedule without resource, and in the later part, I'll also, to the same project, I'll show you how to add, create resource, assign to the same project, and convert it to level 3. So obviously level 2 and level 4 cannot be done in a classroom environment. That's something that happens on a factory or a site, actual monitoring. But I'll show you what are the tools that are used for monitoring in Primavera. And while creating, I'll show you how to create activity steps. So you will be familiar with all the levels. Okay? So now again within the project. Now we look at what information is recorded on a project level on Primavera. So whichever point to select. So now this is the project table. This is the project details. Now if you do not see this, go to view, show on bottom, select details. So for example, it is like this. Nothing you can see. The view, show on bottom, details, you can see everything. Now we'll go, so whichever point to select, you can see everything. We'll go one by one, what information is recorded. So in the general tab, the project ID what we are given. So if you want to change, you can change from here or you can change from here, the project ID. The project name. Status of a project, most common status would be project is active, work is going on. Inactive, after work has started, it has stopped for whatever reason. It becomes inactive. Plan is where you are only creating the plan.
Already it's run, something.
So most common is active, work has started, work is going on. Inactive, project has started and stopped for some reason. Inactive. Plan, only if you have created a plan. Plan. So these are the most common status that you see. Apart from these three, there is something called a what if status. What if is more of a scientific method, where once you created the plan, you want to do some sort of a simulations. Like you want to change the order of activity, increase the duration of some activity, change sequence, try to do some sort of a simulation to see how it will react. Then we change it to what if. So what if I do this? What if I do that? So that is more of a scientific approach, not that property. But these are order status of activities. Then we have response manager. So if you want to change the OBS, you go here. Again, OBS with up. You can assign a different OBS. Check out. What first comes to your mind? Hear the word check out. When you leave out, it is called check out, right? So what that means when you leave out, you do not have access. Check in, you are allowed inside the room. Check out, you are not allowed inside the room. Same concept is that. Any one of you do online banking? When you do online banking, sometimes we do see a message saying that due to site maintenance, you cannot access from service or time. That is when the IT are working on the website. Now, if they are working on the website and you are trying to do a transaction, it go through. There is some problem. You cannot do a transaction. You cannot check your account balance. Anything can happen. So what they do during that time, they remove access. So that no one can log in. Then they will complete their work. Once they complete, they will restore access. So that is nothing but checkout and checking in IT. So IT checkout means removing access. Checking, giving access back. The same thing also is applicable in civil. You all have seen some sort of construction activity, all of you. So, in any construction site, what is the first thing that is done before technical work site? What represents the site? Actual work starts. What is the first thing they do? Soil testing. Site?
हमें पर स्क्रीन में
Site selection. Okay, then
ओके मैम
technical work on the ground. What is the first thing they do? Clearing the site. Before that, soil leveling. Before that, before soil testing. You all have seen construction sites, right? We have seen barricades being put up. Is it put initially or in between? Initially they put barricades. Now why do they put barricades? To remove access. That is checkout in civil. Once work is done, the barricades are removed. That is checking. In IT, couple of buttons. Civil, very big task. Depending upon the site, you put up barricades, to remove barricades, huge cost, huge duration, labor, everything is there. But that is what is the concept of checkout. So this is what you have to understand. What is checkout, what is check-in. Checkout is removing access, check-in is restoring access. Now in Primavera, when a project is checked out, you cannot touch it. You cannot change anything. You can only view. You cannot do anything with the project. That is checkout in Primavera. Now if your project has got a website address, you can put the website address here, and when you click on launch, it will open in the browser. So this is the general tab. Here, next we move to the notebook tab. In the notebook tab, you can add information about the project, various information about the project in terms of notebook topics. Okay? So what are those topics? To view them, click on add. So these are all the topics. So they are blank documents with a heading. So for example, what is the project description if you want to see? Select description, assign. A document called description is now created. Then you can document, you can add something about the project. Whatever you want, you can add, like this. And then click on OK. So now a document called description about the project is created with information. Like that, you can add various information about the project and store it on Primavera. So this is a very helpful feature. Because a lot of projects have a lot of information, lot of documents. Whenever sometimes when you need a document, you will not know who has it. But here, every document created can be assigned to Primavera. Anyone who has got access can access any kind of document. So this is notebook topic. Then we move on to budget log. Budget log is where a project budget is recorded on Primavera. The way it works on Primavera is very simple. In a real-time project, it is not as simple as this. Okay? In a real-time project, it is much more complex. Usually, the finance, accounts, they will look after the budget aspect. Normal team members or project managers, they may not be associated with the budget. Okay? But the way it works is, let's assume for this project, the budget is 1 lakh. That is the original budget that you have thought of. So you put original budget as 1 lakh. Initially. So original budget is 1 lakh. Current budget is current approved budget. Original is what you thought of initially. Current is current approved. That is again by default 1 lakh. Proposed also 1 lakh. Initial figures. So let's say now for some reason tomorrow we need to increase the budget by 10,000. Now when you need to increase the budget by 10,000, you will directly not change original, you will not change current. What you do is, whenever the budget has to be changed, you create a budget change log. So whenever the budget is changing, you create a log file. You understand log file, right? Log, you know, chronological order. Now why do you create a change log is, so that once the project is completed, if we want to analyze what was the initial cost, what was the final cost, Why did it increase? What point did it increase? Who approved it? So all of that history we will record here. So let's say we need to increase the budget by 10,000. So in the budget change log, click on add. We create a record. Again, status is pending. Again, system date by default. If you want to change, you can change. Amount by which you want to increase the budget, 10,000. Who is responsible for the budget, status, reason for the increase in the budget, and change number. First time you are changing 1. Again, if you click on add, it becomes 2, 3, 4 like that. So like that, you create a record. Now once we create this record, observe proposed budget has been incremented by 10. You can see that proposed is 10, 110. Current 1 lakh because it is not approved. Current approved is 1 lakh only. Since the status is pending. So if this were to be approved, then the current budget incremented by 10,000. Now it is 1 lakh 10,000. If it is not approved, everything goes back to 1 lakh. Like that you create on Primavera. But trust me, in real time, it is not as simple as this. It is much more complicated. Lot of paperwork, lot of approvals, this, that. Then only can increase. Directly cannot increase. This is how Primavera works. Then, based upon the budget law, there is something called spending plan. Spending plan tally, benefit plan, these are all US accounting terms. Since it is a US software, they have put the US accounting terms. They are not used in India. Accounting terminology is different in India. Again, within organizations, the terminology will change. Not every company will use the same terminology. But how this works is, spending plan is how much you are spending on a monthly basis you can record. Since our budget is 1 lakh. In the spending plan, if you say first month, we have spent 50,000. Second month, we have spent another 50,000. Again, it is not as easy as this to calculate how much you have spent on a project. Many things are taken in credit, many things, payments are done in advance. So calculation is not that easy. But if you have put 50,000 simply, then in the budget summary, it will show current budget 1 lakh, spend 1 lakh. Variance is 0. If we spend, let's say, an additional 5,000, did we cross the budget?
Yes.
How much? Red is negative value. Black is positive. So again it will show lakhs. Again, not as simple as this. Calculating the budget in the project, not as simple as this. There are special people, accounts people, finance people. They will do all the accounting things. Not everyone will be, not everyone will have all the information. To be very honest, everyone will not have all the information about all the payments that are done. There are people who will do this work. But understand that Primavera works that way. Then we move to the dates tab. In the dates, what we are given, project plan start. If you want to change, you can change from here. If you are given deadline, must finish by. No deadline, if you want to put a general date, you can put a general date. Finish. You are expecting it completing, let's say 6 months or some period. General date. Data date is the date on which you have created the project on Primavera. Okay? So today we have created the project Primavera. We may not start today, we may not start tomorrow, we may not even start next month. But data date is the date on which you have created on Primavera. Okay? So this is the data date. If you are only going to create a plan, keep it aside. Then you can put anticipated start, anticipated finish. Only if you are going to create a plan. But the day you start the project is the actual start date. The day you finish the project is the actual finish date. Now when you add these two are the most important information you want about the project. Not when you wanted to start, when you expected to finish. These are actual dates. You don't have to add every information that you see on the screen. Only that you are aware of at that point of time, add it. You can always add it later on. So this is the dates tab. Moving on, funding. Funding source, again this is a US concept. Because most multinational companies have a concept of creating various budgets. You heard about a budget, right? State budget, central budget, So like that they create a budget for different operations of the company. Like for R&D they'll create a budget. For projects they'll create one. For operations they'll create one. Like that they will create budgets. Here we are going to record the funding source, which is the budget. Okay. To record it, all you have to do is just click on add. Each company we have created all of them. It is already there. From here you select which is the funding source. How much is the money? What is the percentage? Even if you do not add, not a problem. Nothing is going to be a problem. Only your company is using the concept of a funding source. Then you record it. Codes is a separate, it's advanced topic we do later on. Default settings for activities within the project. When you do activity, I'll explain this part. Cost account similar to a funding source. A funding source is a budget. A cost account is a bank account. Again, this is a foreign concept where what companies do for each department, they create something called a cost account. So a cost account is where all the money for the department will be taken out and also put in. So all the department expenses like salaries, any other payments, any purchases will come from a cost account. This is for transaction tracking. Because if you have only one account for a big company, every transaction coming in, going in, it is very difficult to track. So what they do is they create something called a cost account for each department. Again, this may not be applicable to all. If there is one, you have to just record. Click here, record which cost account. Even if you do not add, no problem. Because most companies may not use the concept of a cost account. Then calendars. This we'll do next. Once you finish projects, we'll look at calendars. These are auto numbering default for activity. For EPS ID, we have to give the ID. For project ID, we have to give the ID. But when it comes to activity ID, the system automatically will create an activity ID based upon this setting. Each activity ID, prefix is capital A, suffix is 1000. So what is the complete ID now? What is the first activity ID? A. What is it? What is the first activity ID? Prefix A, suffix 1000. So A 1000, right? And every new activity incremented by 10. So what is the next activity ID?
A 1000.
1000, 10, 1020. Based upon this setting. You can change it to B, you can start with B. Resource settings is in these settings, only you have to remember is financial year begins on first day of which month? When does the financial year start?
March.
First day of which month? So still thinking? March end is when the financial year ends.
April 1st.
April 1st is, so here you have to put April. Each country has a different financial year. So here you have to select when the financial year starts. And finally, calculations, only thing remember here is default price per unit for activity without any resource. Cost of an activity is cost of resources, cost of manpower, machinery, material. So when for an activity there are no resources, what should be the cost? What should be the cost? 0. Okay? That is the setting. So this is the concept of creating projects on Primavera. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Ready to practice?
Yes, sir.
So first copy of the definition.
ఆగండి అని చెప్తున్నా.
Let me know if you are finished.
Yes, completed.
Yes, ma'am.
And go to next slide. Write down the levels.
Is completed, everybody?
How to add projects.
Yes. Next.
Exercise time. See, you have already done OBS and EPS. Now at least this will be easy for you. Okay. So let me explain the exercise. This exercise about creating projects. Many projects. First is cross-country pipeline. Is the project name. Don't again put it as the project ID. Project name is cross-country pipeline. Project ID you can put CCPL, short form. So project ID, remember CCPL. Project name, entire name, cross-country pipeline. This is one project. This is one more project. So two projects separately to be created under iron pipes. Anyone remember what iron pipes is? What is it? Forgot with lunch? What is iron pipes?
Under pipeline.
What is iron pipes? But we have created, right? What is it?
It's EPS.
Very good. It is an EPS node. See, I told you EPS node is a collection of projects. So under this EPS node iron pipes, I want you to create two projects. I have given the project name, put the project ID, short form. Okay? Now iron pipes, you are given a program manager. Remember? Under the program manager, there are two project managers.
Yes, sir.
Assign first project manager to the first project, second project manager to the second project. So this is a practice of creating the project by assigning to the right EPS and the relevant OPS. Don't give a mechanical project manager, civil project manager, mechanical project. Whoever is under the program manager, assign them to one project. That is done. Again, there are two more projects under KC pipes. Now tell me what is KC pipes?
EPS.
EPS. Right? What is installation?
Shiva, కొంచెం అటు move on.
It is also an EPS. So at least with each one you get more energy.
Yes, okay.
Did you have a lunch or not?
Yes, sir.
All of you.
Okay, okay.
So again, two more projects. Combustion designing under one EPS. Combustion installation under one more EPS. Different EPS, different project manager. Let it complete all these projects. And try to explore the different tabs. Notebook topic, budget block. Look at all of them. You may or may not require them in future, but just have a look at what they are. Any doubts in any one of them, you can call me and explain to you. So clear this part, how to do?
Yes, sir.
Now I don't want to see any project ID as cross-country pipeline and project name as blank. And then again ask what is OPS. Don't come to the beginning of the story. Okay? Right. All the best.